Ghana's parliament resumes today after almost a month of closure over COVID-19. Among the key bills are discussions on waiving of VAT on donations of stock of equipment and goods for fighting the COVID-19 pandemic and extending the due date for filing of taxes from 4 months to 6 months after the end of the basis year. Parliament was suspended on 4th April. Domestic flights are also set to resume by the weekend, according to the aviation minister. Let's go to Accra now, from where our reporter Nabil Ahmed Rufai joins us live. Nabil, Ghana seems to be ahead of most African nations in terms of trying to reopen its economy. Tell us more about these efforts and how Ghanaians are reacting to them.
Thank you very much, Penina. A lot is going on here in Ghana since the government eased the lockdown almost 2 weeks ago. Now today, lawmakers are expected to resume sitting after going on a suspension during the outbreak of the coronavirus. Now here we expect all the lawmakers that will be attending the chamber to wear their face masks, because wearing a face mask have become very compulsory for everyone. So here in Parliament, there's some measures that have been put in place as the sitting is going to take place today. There's been restrictions of the number of people that would come into the chamber, and even for journalists, everyone is supposed to wear their face masks before allowed entry into the chamber to observe the sittings. Now, aside that, generally wearing a face mask, as I said earlier, is actually compulsory for everyone. So when you go to the market centers, you'll see traders wearing the face masks, and also those who are going there to shop also wearing their face masks. But one thing that has been very challenging in enforcing is the physical or social distancing. The markets are still crowded and people are finding it difficult to observe the social distancing rule. That's something that the government is struggling to deal with. But aside that, when you talk about the transport stations, we have seen that before people are allowed to board buses, they have to wear their face masks. And some of the drivers have actually restricted the number of people who are allowed to enter into a bus to be commuted to their destination. So for instance, if a bus has to take 16 passengers due to the pandemic, there's been a limited number of people that can enter into the bus so that the social distancing can be observed. Now, also when you go to the banking halls, before you even enter, there are notices outside the banking halls that you have to wear your face mask before you are allowed entry into the banks. Now, there is also one thing that the government is doing and city authorities are doing by not allowing those who are not wearing their face masks to actually go into town in order to curb the spread of the pandemic. Now, here in Parliament, for instance, we know that before the lawmakers went on the break, there was a discussion as to how they will be able to observe the physical distancing while sitting in the chamber, because it's quite a small space. And the Speaker of Parliament actually suggested they move their sitting to a bigger place like the conference center, which is not too far from here. But then that was not finalized. We are uncertain if that will come up for discussion today. But one thing is certain, the fact that usually during the first sittings, we don't see all the 275 members of parliament coming to the chamber. So we expect that some physical distance can be observed, because there will be limited number of MPs coming into the chamber. Now, aside that, there has been concern as to when the government will lift the ban on public and social gatherings, because we know that is still being enforced. People are not allowed to hold social events, and for businesses that are actually dependent on social events, they are still struggling because they are not able to sell their products or also attend, organize events for people to participate. And that has been the concern for a lot of people here in Ghana as to when the ban on the public gatherings will be lifted. But then President Nana Akufo-Addo has said that decision has not been taken as yet, because the country is still monitoring its cases of COVID-19 as it's still increasing. Now, even for people, Muslims observing the Ramadan, because of the ban on social gathering, they are not able to observe their Ramadan fully. They are not able to congregate in mosque because that is not being allowed, and that has been a problem for a lot of Muslims who are going through the Ramadan at this moment, Penina.
All right, Nabil, thank you for that update. Nabil Ahmed Rufai live for us in Accra.